Of course.
But he's also a manipulative son of a bitch. Knows how to press buttons. Even an old fox like myself can fall in love from time to time. It happens. Now, I could give you the names of the people involved, but you are a foreigner. I find it very difficult that you can do anything other than try to bribe yourself to get that information. You know, the actual documents, I mean.
It's true. It may be difficult, but I'm not entirely doing this of my own action. There are others who have a more vested interest than I in exactly what will occur here on this soil. I'm more concerned with perhaps the end result. But with such names and perhaps such documents known to them, I think perhaps they'll know exactly where to look, what to pluck, and how to pin him down once and for all.
If you could find him. I'm sure that there are no records of the actual bribes. Okay. Because some of the bribes were not paid with coin, for one matter. But yes, finding documents, if you can find them, would be and people who might want to go to court and swear an oath saying that they in fact did these documents. That would put him in a very difficult position. I don't know if that would guarantee his fall. They would put him in a fight for his life, at least legally. You can do whatever you want with them. You put him in a vulnerable position, and for once, I would like to see him in that position. There are many who are baying for his, well, hopefully, metaphorical blood.
The city seems filled with his victims at this point. To excise them would be a relief upon perhaps not just the city, but perhaps the world as a whole at this point.
Yes. Now, if you excuse me, at least I speak of the devil. The better. I wish you good luck. And I will ask you never to contact me again. This was a simple business meeting between a lord and a lady, some repute, and that will be all. I will deny
all it shall ever be.
I will deny that this conversation ever took place, or any other details.
And that is all that it ever was. I hope you enjoyed your drink, ma'am, my lady.
Merci beaucoup. She gets up, and she doesn't even take the drink, right? And and the little badger's like, sort of trailing behind, right?
Badger probably just already did.
Yeah.
Poor Badger. It's like, document down. We went to talk about the crimes today. And but hey, I have a list of things, and I think this is the bullet. I think this goes to Lady Rishi then.
Maybe.
I'm just trying to recompose what I knew and understood of the people I had talked to.
Yeah.
If not, Lady Rishi was going to do anything precisely herself or wait for the right moment. If Couture is the person to do this, I'm not sure if he actually had legal authority of any measure.
No. Couture he's not a Rinaldi, so his power within the city is limited. I mean, he has some influence, of course, but not as much. Rishi could use this, but the more you give her, the more effective the shot will be.
Right. So far, we just kind of know that it happened. Getting these documents and giving them to her would probably be the more effective thing, right? But we'd have to find a way to get them.
There's a couple of people are in the sort of general guild hold he works with, especially the people that imported exporters, and there's also at least one person who works at the records office, the city's records office, right? Well, more than one. Apparently, he needed quite a bit of help to square all this stuff, right? You understand bureaucracy. It's not just the one document. It has everything to, you have to create a false paper trail in order to, cover the real one, and make sure that everything is in place, or it looks like it's in place.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just a matter of signing off on a single document or contract.
Right. So I guess if we wanted to get records, going straight to his guild hall is probably the worst one because he owns that place.
Practically, yeah. He's not the guild master, but he's pretty close to it.
Right. Wouldn't be super great. Probably even harder to get to. The city, at least, we could make a request and not seem suspicious just asking.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, stealing from the city would be could end up terribly for us.
It could.
We're also missing our dear brother Vesper, the master of pulling pages from other people's books.
Yeah. Just ripping him off.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, that seems like what we'll have to do, or we just try to give it to Rishi as is, and then she demands it from us anyway. What do you think, Spencer?
I guess we could go to Rishi with this sin. I don't see what we could do on our own with this information.
It's not quite the death blow to him.
True.
He did. I think he did have some relation to our trader fellow, who we were also interested in for the tablet, which also related perhaps to that strange badge he had on him in the shipping container. But
and he also had that medallion.
But I believe that requires our friend Rickard to actually come back to us with information on that front. And until then, we don't say pin him to some sort of apostate group or something.
Well, this is the front of the mercenary stuff. The other investigation, which is our two missing characters, are dealing with that side. So let's say that they're dealing, figuring out more information about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the heliotropes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's only slightly
heliodromes.
Interrelated. It's
heliodromes. Yeah, I keep confusing them too. So let's say that this is going parallel. They're doing that, and you're doing it with this. To say that they're not completely out of the picture.
Of course. Everyone so far, though, has said that he more or less plays it entirely by the book, skirts every legal thing he does by inches. He's hard to catch on anything. This is the only evidence we found so far after several days of trying to hunt this down. There's scandals we can pop on him, but those aren't fatal either. It's times like these, I wish I was some rapscallion. I just decided it'd be better to find him in a back alleyway. Make the whole thing so much easier, wouldn't it?
It would.
But alas, we're on our little tale of intrigue. So I think maybe we do need to talk to Rishi, and they can give us some authority to hunt this down. I think that's the best course of action then. There we go. Hey, I put that together finally. It only took 10 minutes. So I'll arrange to meet with Rishi again, and will speak.
Yeah,
And this time I
again,
don't have to go alone.
yeah. This again, you find her in the garden, in the shared garden, in the suburbs. But no children this time, or gaggle of nieces and nephews and daughters and the like.
Hmm.
She seems a little more calm. She's sitting in a sort of very large chair, wicker chair. It's like, it's been a while since we talked, Monsieur. What do you have for me?
Indeed, it has, my lady. It's been an interesting time. This Wilcox fellow. Not a single person in the city likes him. It's amazing he's made a single deal whatsoever. But he has been as careful as he possibly can be, or as many toes as he's stepped upon. But I did find perhaps the one error maybe he's made. And I'll go ahead and I'll share with her directly the sort of names and permits and things that he may or may not have manipulated and probably has false forgeries of.
I could arrange for you to meet this clerk that he dealt with. That seems to be the weakest link.
I agree.
You do have a way. You know that you are being a good investigator, but you do have any way to really, what can I say? These really dig into the mind of this person in a way
well,
that would not be traced to me if it thinks.
well, funny that you should say that. I'll just casually look over to Spencer. But as a university student, I understand the mind is more open and receptive to divulging information than it may seem. And of course, this is more of a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and she probably immediately understands what I mean with that.
She doesn't even react. Like she gives you. You could be
Yeah.
like she doesn't understand, or she understands perfectly, but she doesn't give you
Mhm.
a stone face. It's like,
Exactly.
well, if this is the case, then perhaps I can find some information where you can find them outside of his work. I can have my people investigate that and arrange for you to meet him at his home or some other place. You can find him and corner him.
Exactly.
But the key here is that if this Wilcox is as wily as you say, that it cannot go back to him before we have the information. And it cannot come back to me.
Of course, I understand. I've simply never met you in the first place, really. How could I possibly know someone from the city? I'm just a foreign visitor. That's all I am.
You're a guest, welcome guest in my home. Yes. And now that's when she smiles, a very toothy smile, like, you're a guest. Oh, you were wonderful when you visited my granddaughter's birthday. You were very welcome. Some of the ladies really appreciated the cut of your cheek, as they say in your language. And that's all I have to say about that. So if you were to excuse us, and she uses the us in a very royal manner, right?
Mm-hmm.
We could resolve this problem very easily, and deal with it as much as possible. So
Very well.
I bid you adieu and a good day.
You as well. I will await your word.
You get a message about a day or so later. It takes a while for her to make the arrangements, have her people sort of track this guy down.
Mm-hmm.
He does visit a brewery, a small brewery, on his way to his home. It's a sort of it's brewery, and also it's because he is a he actually buys bread for his family before he gets home. So he gets a bit of a pint and some bread, a baguette, and he goes home. So let's see which species.
Solid bread and liquid bread.
Exactly. Little column A and a lot of column B. It's the way he basically okay. Yeah. Yeah. Something. Yeah, he is he is a deer. A stag to be precise.
Oh boy, extra flighty.
Yeah. And seems to be someone who is, according to the information you get, someone who's been working for at least 10 or more years in the records office. Right? He is a born bureaucrat. And you manage to, if you're going to intercept him, you manage to intercept him as he either going into this, essentially this bakery that also has a little, has a brewery on the side, and or he's going out. That's your how do you want to handle this? Right.
Okay, so here's an idea. Spencer and Harmon. It seems quite simple. On his way out, I'll bump into him to force him to stop for a moment. Spencer, I believe you can confuse him for long enough for us to sweep him away, and I will provide the excuse that I am going to, say, pay for the bread that I've ruined once he dropped it all. And then we just walk him away wherever we wish.
All right.
And in fact, if we walk him straight to our carriage and take him to Lord Couture's estate, what can he do then?
Okay.
So that's the plan. How do you two feel? Are you ready? You think this is good?
Well, the thing is, use of the spell of perplexing, it could be considered assault.
Well, no one sees you do it, right?
I figured
Right.
kidnapping is also seen as assault, but I mean, you raise your objections where you want to raise them.
What's a little fun without some crime?
So you're going to try to sort of intercept him.
Yes.
Right.
So
yeah, you're going to have to do a speed test for him, an approach speed test.
okay. Speed in anything or
anything that helps you. You don't have shadowing, so yeah, it'd just be a straight up speed test.
okay. So boop, speed. If it's shadowing, there would be like, I guess, evasion, observation, but
Tell him about I'm already there.
Harmon just boom straight in.
And basically, he's walking by, and he just sort of collides with this wall that is Harmon. It's like, oh, and his bread falls on the floor, and his wine as well. His skin of wine is like,
What was that?
What? And he looks out at Harmon, and was like, oh. He's a little scared because Harmon is a very imposing figure. It's like, what is the meaning of this?
Were you not watching where you were going?
What? And he turns around and you're there as well. It's like, what's going on?
Truly, are the people of this city so foolish? Hold up now, then. That is hardly an apology. Look at it. You've hurt Harmon's feelings.
How can I help the feelings of a wall? It is not possible.
Look at it. Don't you see him? He's such a sensitive man. Don't you see it in his eyes?
Cold-hearted exterior lies a heart of stone that you just cracked.
I do not know who you are. Do you
He's upset. If you wait a moment longer, I don't think I can control him. He is my bodyguard, and he's meant to defend me.
What's going on here?
And I guess at this point, Spencer, you have done your spell there, it seems.
I've already rolled it. 2 successes.
And here he says,
actually 3.
Speed in mind.
And inquiry.
But he doesn't. Well, he does have inquiry because he is a clerk. But he only has 6s on that, so. Just 1 success. So, effect is confusion. He's thoroughly confused and he's babbling like, what's good? No,
you clearly need some time to find your proper words, and I believe we shall help you find them. Stand up, and I'll point to Harmon to like lift him up. Let's go to the carriage. You can sit down there for a while.
And he's like, let's see if anybody else notices.
Yeah.
Notices enough to actually give a damn. Let's put it this way.
Yeah, exactly. At which point I'd probably have to work on my performance here.
Yes, someone is. A few people are looking away, and somebody comes from the shop. Is like, "Oh, hello, what's going on here?" Uh,
Well, I mean, what exactly are they noticing?
the confrontation, right? That
Right.
they collided, and he's making a mess, and then he looks confused, and the carriage is pulling up, and so it's a combination of no, they don't know exactly what's going on, but they're like, it's curious enough for them to.
Right. I just wanted to throw out there that perplex is a mystic spell, which means that only people with supernatural can even notice that it happened.
No, they don't know. They don't know.
Yeah, they
it.
don't
Right.
notice
I
that
know.
part.
I just wanted to confirm that. That's all.
Yeah, I know.
So,
but he does notice that he is confused, babbling and talking like he's drunk or something. Like,
yeah, so the baker comes out, and I'll actually approach, and I'll go, "Oh, sir, this man bumped into me, and it looks like he spilled all of his bread. I'm not going to force him to pick that up off the ground, and I'll go ahead and start reaching for some denarii, and I'll hand it over to him. It's like, take this money and deliver it to his estate. He'll be there later."
do a mind, a mind and presence to a will. I should say a will and presence because you're trying to convince him to.
Right. It's like everything's on the up and up. I'm just looking for an apology. Get him his bread. He just bumped into us. Ones, but there's a 7 in there.
It's a 7.
It's a 1. It's one
But,
success.
I'm not,
I guess I could add in the D12 for wealth because I'm obviously just tossing money around.
Yeah.
Let's put that in. Here we go. All right, 2 successes without having to actually tap nobility.
Yeah, he is a bit confused, but it's like he takes the money. He's like, sure, I'll have and he sort of claps to have one of his assistants sort of get more bread and stuff like that.
Good man.
They're busy with that. You have an opening between him going in and trying to get more bread, and people are looking, but they don't know what's going on. You have an opening to just sort of take him to your carriage.
Yeah, get to the carriage, get out, and we're gone.
And you did tell him to bring the bread to his estate, to his home, so he's gonna do that. So
yeah, exactly.
You hear the carriage just drive away down the street, and he comes with a bundle of, because you bought probably like 3 or 4 baguettes at the same time too.
Mm-hmm.
He gives it to his assistant.
If only there was
in the paper. Just go. And he's
just
like,
go. How much should I deduct for that?
Just a dinar, because that's we're talking about bread here. Bread's gonna cost.
Yeah, just bread.
Yeah, you do like 3 or 4 baguettes at the same time.
Okay.
And he's still gonna be confused, even though it may wear off. He's still confused in the carriage. You're gonna take him outside the city?
Yeah, I believe Kotor's place was outside the city, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. By the time he arrives there, unless the spell, the ability continue to attack him, it will wane off. It will wane, but he's still confused and now scared because he realizes he's being kidnapped. Right? Did you send word ahead to Katu that you were going to do this?
I'm going to say probably so. That would seem to be the polite thing to do, rather than to ambush him with it. Say, prepare.
Roll, because you didn't say it. Roll for
Yeah.
me to see how receptive he is.
All
that
right.
will be a presence, a mind and presence.
Okay, so I'll
and
go
nobility
ahead.
as well, because you're noble to noble.
Yeah, 1d6 plus my 1d8 plus my 1d12 for being a noble, and suggestion: 1d8 assist bonus. This is me saying we have the Wilcox evidence right here, and we're gonna just literally give it to you.
Okay, yeah.
There you go. It seems like a sound plan. 3 successes.
Yeah, he's receptive. In fact, he has guards waiting in armor with pole arms. So when you basically Harmon just sort of picks him up and puts him down, right? And they're waiting, and they just grab him by one shoulder and the other, and like they almost lift him up from the ground. And he's like, what is going on? I did not do anything. Blah blah blah. And he's almost peed his pants. By the time he's inside, and he's babbling, and the Lord doesn't. He's not there. He's not going to take care of this. But he sends one of his soldiers, captain of the guards, like, "Well, Monsieur, I'm here to witness anything that you do here. I suggest you keep the blood out of the marble as much as possible."
Indeed. I don't intend to give him any physical harm. I doubt he puts up that sort of fight anyway.
And when he says blood on the marble, he's like, blood? But why? These people kidnapped me. You have to take me back to my wife and my children. What is going on here? And he's like, silence. His lip goes like,
Then I think it's time for us to begin. Spencer, you know to be ready.
you do have a DA because he's scared witless out of his mind, right?
Of course. And we'll open up with slowly. It's like, you are such and such name. You work as a scribe in the city, do you not?
Yes.
I see. Very good. Now, you do your job well, do you not? You don't accept interference to it, I would hope.
Cool.
No, none at all? You've never taken a bribe? You've never forged a paper? You've never misplaced something? Your job is perfect?
Let's see. He's a bureaucrat. He's going to get a bonus to that. Try it again.
Do you need me to do some mind reading here while we're doing this?
I guess it depends on if it works for the scene.
He's resisting. He's like, this preposterous. You have to do it in a post roll.
Okay. What am I rolling here?
Your presence, will, and.
If he's lying, then it would be inquiry.
Inquiry, yeah.
Yeah. So inquiry, and we'll throw in the presence too. You say.
Basically, he starts talking about the fact that people don't understand his work. So there are, there's fees and stuff like that, but those are not really, bribes. That's a dirty word, etc. He gets very technical. But
All right. I'll assist you, Gregory.
Okay. I'm just looking to see if there's anything else I should tap here. I guess I could claim to tap legal authority because there's stuff happening here. And I think that makes sense. But being a noble probably doesn't matter to him now that we've kidnapped him.
Yeah.
So I'll put that in. So we're looking at inquiry, we're looking at presence, we're looking at legal authority. That is not an assist, unfortunately.
Well, if I would get my legal authority on that assist, I might be able to re-roll the
Give it a go. Maybe I'll get another D8.
Yeah. You need one more success to beat his. So.
Okay. So let's give the assist. I'm gonna be vain.
This guy, I mean, you can feel, he's lying, but you can't pin the lie on him.
I guess
he goes into pure bureaucratic talk about how people misunderstand his office and there's reasons why there's fees, and he starts doing like a breakdown on what costs and how much paper costs, which is expensive, and vellum and thing and ink and all that. It's like,
I guess I have one more mechanism.
Yeah.
I could flashback.
You can flashback.
Bingo.
All right. I'll flash back to a time where someone else is giving me the precise same runaround, saying I'm so important, my stuff is so complicated, but honestly, it just boils down to them buying paper at the market.
Yes.
I've seen this before. I've heard it. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. We finally have our third success. Just took everything.
15 minutes or so giving you the runarounds. You finally start like, no, this. What you're saying is this, and I know where you get it, and this is how much it costs, and stuff like that. So you show that you know enough that he can't BS you.
Mm-hmm.
So you're in impasse, right? So yeah, you know he's lying. What he's lying? So he doesn't tell you who bribed him more often, but he knows that he's lying when he says that he hasn't been bribed, right? And he's trying to obscure that. So clearly he's been lying. And all the while, the guard from the courtiers, he's just looking at this, going like,
yeah. He's like, they're not like poking you with daggers. I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
So now is probably the point where I will start leading him to help out Spencer as Spencer goes through with his, and I'll say, I want you to remember an event. It happened this many years ago. And perhaps you would remember the deed in particular. There was a license coming up, and it wasn't going to go through. And I need to know your part in it. Perhaps you remember the benefactor who paid you, a man named Wilcox.
Okay, another opposed roll, but this time you have a D8 because you sort of cracked his cover, so you do have an advantage. So it's just 2 successes again.
Okay. This time around, I have 1, 2, 3, 4.
As I do know Monsieur Cox, he is a respectable member of society. You can't really say no to people who. I mean, just I could not say no to you if you were to make a important inquiry into documents that are necessary. There was some problem with these previous documentation, which I smooth it out, so to speak. Which is my job. It's just doing my job. That's what I was doing. Of course,
A little bit more smoothing than usual, though.
this was extensive smoothing that needed to be done. But everything now is up to par. I'm sure that documentation would pass muster with anyone.
And
That's what we're talking about here. Yes.
And I think that's probably the cue for Spencer to try to dig as deep as possible.
All right.
We've broken him. We've admitted him. We got everything.
And it's a good thing I say personality. I'm gonna try to get those deep buried secrets.
And I guess I would pitch. I've been helping here. Can you get an assist bonus on this?
Yes.
There you go.
So you have 3. Three successes. He has 1.
All right, I'm gonna go and use my flashback because dealing with very obfuscating people like this who try to veil the truth or veil their lies in jargon and whatnot are very difficult to deal with, but it's something I've been trained for.
Mm. At the very least, if you only end up on 2, that's still, quote, an hour's worth of truthful negotiation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Hey.
you crack him like a nut, basically. You get an image. The first image is of Wilcox, and this is the first time we sort of see him on camera. An older fox. He is a red fox. And he is... he's having a negotiation with him, and you can sort of hear, you're seeing it from the point of view of the clerk, and you hear sort of muted voices, and you're like, no, I cannot do this, no. And he's sort of pleading, and even puts up some money in on the table and stuff like that, and he's like, no, I cannot accept this, it's not possible, blah blah blah. And Wilcox appears to leave, and sort of the image blends. And then you have the clerk is flanked by 2 of what appears to be his friends. And they're going to a brothel on the first floor of a brothel, similar to the place that you were before. Not the same one, but very similar to it.
Mm-hmm.
And you see sort of out of the ether, sort of these women appear and sort of pass a hand through him and touch his cheek and stuff like that. And as he seems to get deeper and deeper, he finds himself in a bed with a woman sort of, welcoming him, and he's sort of going into the bed, and then afterwards, sometime later, he finds his his face in his hands, and it's like, what have I done? And we see Bernadette come in and sort of whisper something to him, and he sort of kind of agrees and says, and then there's several other instances where he continues to go through the same process, going to the brothel, and eventually he returns back to being on the same table, but this time there's a pouch of coins, which is open, and sort of a little pile of dinars that he's counted, and he's working on several documents, and there's a document that seems to be the original document, and then there's the document he's modifying and remaking anew to make it so that it's word for word and looking back and forth. and he gets a seal and all that, and he sort of rolls it up and sort of hands it over. And we don't see the face of the person who hands it over, but they sort of take it and it disappears. And he sort of like goes back. It's like, I am done with this.
Did he keep the original?
Yes. Actually, he's folded up and sort of puts it, he keeps the original. Perhaps as a insurance, right? In case somebody comes after him or like that.
All right, I'm gonna, of course,
yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Spencer is seeing all this. He's narrating it with mind speech to Gabriel, so he gets the same information as quickly as possible, as well as knowing where the document is kept now, because that's a deep buried secret, I would assume.
Oh yeah, he has a small safe in his own home with personal documents and stuff like that. And there's several, and you can see in this mind I said it was like one of the there's a box within the safe, and that box has several documents sort of rolled up, which are linked to this. It's not just the one. You saw the one he was working on, but that was the last one of a series of documents he was working on. So this was extensive.
Indeed. We now know exactly where it is. Heck, with deep buried secrets, you probably know what the code is for the safe too.
Yeah, I mean,
I was about to say, yeah.
Deep buried secret. Yeah, you really dug in. You know everything there is to know about this particular situation, which is what he's thinking on. So yeah, he got some other secrets, like he's, you get flinches of he keeps every so often sneaking off to the brothel, right? Without his wife knowing, and then feeling ashamed about it, right? Feeling ashamed about it, because the thing is that what they did basically was a honey trap, right?
Mm-hmm.
Got him into the brothel, got him to have a sex, right, and all that. And it's like, and they got him to get to do that, and eventually, like, we know you're doing this behind your wife's back. Take the money and shut the hell up, basically. And that's where Bernadette came in, right?
Nefarious.
So then I think we have everything we need. It's wonderful. And I imagine the look on his face right now, just like shocked and all that.
He buries his face in his hands. Because he's reliving it. He doesn't know that you're doing magic. He just reliving, because his mind is working that way. He knows, he's sort of, as you're talking to him, he's reliving this and even telling you a little bit of this, but not too much, right? So he admits to doing it. He doesn't get to the details, but Spencer, gets every little detail right there, right? Including images of him, having a conversation, maybe even a little bit of a fight with his wife, like, where have you been and stuff like that. And everything else around him is muted, but his answers are clear because you're seeing and hearing everything from his perspective. So he's come close to, this has got tension with his wife, even though wife doesn't really know what's going on. He doesn't know that she knows, right? So this would ruin him. Personal life, financial life, professional. I mean, he can go to prison for it as well. So hard labor or worse, depending how it gets characterized. And you go from there.
All right. So I'll look over to the captain. Go. Well, I think we're done here. He may need to be held for a while, and it's perhaps likely he might face some criminal consequences. But with this cooperation, maybe he can get off light. I won't be around to make sure of that.
Well,
but I shall.
And they just, two guards grab him and just, and by this time he's just defeated. He's sort of dragged away. He's not have a fight.
Right, and I'll go ahead and I'll tell Couture we will have the evidence imminently. The man needs to be held for a while, of course, and things should turn out great. So our plan, I think, is let's go to the house, let's go to the safe, let's open it up. We'll just give a quick white lie to the wife and say, it's like, well, we're business partners, your husband's a little busy, we're just here to pick something up for him, and We'll just do that real quick.
It'll take some convincing. Okay, so you go back to the wife. You go to his house, which is okay house, right?
Mhm.
And the lights are still on. If you go next day, actually, you go next day. He hasn't come back, and they also have no, they can't afford a maid, so she's home.
Mhm.
And when you open the door, she's like, "What can I do for you, my lord?"
Hello there, ma'am. You don't know me, but I know your husband, and we've been spending some time together recently, and he's made a request while we're doing business that I should retrieve something from his office.
My husband has
It's
my dear husband has not come back home from last night. What's happened to him? And
indeed.
she closes the door behind her and sort of plants herself and she's a doe and she plants herself in the at the entrance. It's like,
Mhm.
what's has happened to my husband? What do you know?
He is safe and sound, I assure you that. He is merely busy with business of his. That is all. Work hours have been tough on him, and so I'm here to help relieve him of a little bit of that stress. There's quite a number
You
of things I've had to do in the city, you see, and I've needed someone as studious as him to handle the paperwork, for you see. There's many business matters I need to attend to, and I could speak to you about those, but I feel perhaps those might bore you.
will you you will speak to them to me. Explain to me where my husband is exactly. And she's not. I mean, you show up at her door. Her husband hasn't come that night. You don't. She doesn't know you, and you're clearly a foreigner, right? So it's you can do what are you gonna do? Mind or you're trying to be soft talker, so it could be a mind.
I, I, yeah, I'm trying to soft talk her here a
Yeah,
little
but it's
bit.
gonna be difficult. Yeah, it's gonna be difficult. Mind presence, something not inquiry because
Deceit.
they see definitely.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not actually a good liar. I'm just good at making an impression.
yeah.
I'll tap nobility for like I'm clearly important and trustworthy. Don't you believe me? For success.
Yeah, I mean,
Just
she opens the door carefully.
mhm.
It's like, what exactly do you need from me?
Nothing at all. I merely need to see your husband's office.
And when will he be returned to me?
But soon. I believe he'll be busy for but a few more days.
Everyone. His office is upstairs.
Thank you, my lady. And I will head upstairs. We have the safe. Just number, click.
There's a bunch
Only
of
because you're getting
documents.
fucked in the wrong way.
No. Of course, it was in a dream, so everything is reversed in the mirror.
Yeah. So yeah, this is what you get the documents that is in the box, and again they're basically rolled up right so you have to sort of, and he has a small table and like that. Basically, a lot of the thing in the office is that he takes a lot of work with him home. He's that much of a dedicated bureaucrat, right?
Hmm.
And his stuff is just record keeping, making sure that the bureaucracy, he's a cog in the machine, right? He's one of many
Of
people who
course.
keeps the paper trails and the work going. um, Probably somebody who is a little higher up in the bureaucracy, but not someone who is a level who's a boss or anything like that. And so yeah, these are the kind of things, and everything. He's someone who's clearly a neat freak. Everything is in his own place, and a little bit of OCD.
Hmm.
Apologies, people actually who suffer from OCD, but I think you guys can understand that. And very much focus on having everything in its place.
Look,
Um,
Spencer, it's like we're in the Lady Chamberlain's office again.
yes,
Indeed.
that type of personality. And yeah, you find like 4 or 5 of these documents that he kept in this box. Perhaps his insurance, perhaps because he couldn't just bring himself to destroy them. But yeah, he has them right there. So it's certainly proof that these
Hmm.
documents, these are the originals. So if you were to go to a records office and compare them to the ones that are altered, then yeah, that would probably show that there was an alteration.
Wonderful. So we have our little box, and this is perfect. All we need to do now is take it to Lady Rishi.
Excellent.
Uh,
I think that was the plan, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Literally, she welcomes you again. She's in the garden, as she always does, in a different chair this time, but same, wicker chair. And she's like, "I see you carry tidings for me."
Indeed, I brought you a gift. One worthy of someone of such grandeur. And I'll, of course, hand her like the slightly shabby box. But it's got
And
a little piece of fancy twine on it now.
she has a servant take it and open it and start looking at the document, and they have it sort of this whisper conversation, and she kind of looks over and she says little glasses. Oh, she phones him. No, this is a very powerful proof you have of me. Very powerful one. And where is the young clerk right now?
Currently, he's at Couture's estate. He has been a fortunate ally for me right now. He is safe and sound and unharmed.
Well, I guess I'll have to talk to Monsieur Couture about this, on account of we have to make sure that the young gentleman is returned to his position as soon as possible before his family misses him terribly. I don't want anything
Indeed.
to happen to him.
I figured a gentler hand might be better at that.
So the question remains, what do we do now?
Well, I suppose we
Do you
have
any
the
suggestions?
well, we have the one piece of evidence against him, the one mistake he's ever made. He's in violation of at least some law. Perhaps now's the time to push on that. If he at least gets into some legal proceedings or is arrested for it, I'm not sure exactly what the consequences for this particular breach is, but well, bribing state clerks doesn't seem like it's tolerated.
No. Especially when it has to do with usury and also the transportation of flesh.
Indeed.
Some very touchy subject in certain quarters. Indenture servitude is, well, some people find it borderline immoral and certainly illegal if you don't do it carefully.
Mm-hmm.
I would have another suggestion. Now I know that you have you would like to eliminate this Mr. Wilcox, write him off your list, as it were.
Very true, very true.
However, it's also my understanding the reason why you're doing this is because you want to cut off the supplies of mercenaries and weapons to your to the opposition, your enemies, correct?
That is so.
What if instead I was able to secure a 8-pack to your side? Food, clothing, some ammunition, perhaps high quality powder. If you were to convince Mr. Wilcox to change his allegiances to me.
I see. You do have the ammunition perfect for that, of course.
Of course. I mean, someone such a Mr. Wilcox is a very interesting person. Yes, he is detestable in many ways, but eminently useful. I like to make use of him.
I see. Well, it has always been, of course, my interest to pursue justice first and foremost, but there are more matters at stake here today than simply putting away one legal matter for good. There are, of course, my people to think about. And
do not worry.
while such a legal matter would surely end him in the end, it would perhaps not be quick and efficient, would it?
No, and I will keep him in a very, very tight leash. Might be a wily fox, but I'm wilier.
I have no doubt.
So perhaps I also have done some investigations myself. It seems that you are cooperating with the church. Is that correct?
That is true. I am, of course, a devoted follower of the Church of Saint-Lumiere.
Oh, very well. And I've heard that they are putting together their own aid package, mostly food and clothing. So I could convince any of my fellow nobles to, in the interest of charity, to add to this. Where also other things, like I mentioned before, like some very good powder, perhaps wood, and other necessary materials, of they have a multiplicity of uses, but to also reach your side, then every vendor would win. And because I know also that your king is very sensitive to outside influence, this will be considered charity. No string attached.
Of course, you're
I
but
cannot, but I cannot do that without having something in return that would help me in the immediate future. You understand why? So,
I do.
if you will be so kind as to press your case to Mr. Wilcox, you are a member of the house as he is, and he's years removed, but still you are from the same society. If you are able to convince him that it is time for him to reassess his alliances, I would consider that to be a most gracious favor.
I see it, I understand. I believe once this war is concluded, I will be in quite an interesting position, actually. And I believe you'll be more than willing to hear me out on such a case. And of course, after such a generous and donation from one so faithful, who could say no to such a thing, or dare question your honor, even?
And she smiles. And he says, perhaps we can have another garden party before we leave. In your honor, monsieur.
That would be wonderful. I'd be absolutely delighted.
I will have to deal with couture, but I can turn that into the advantage of the family. Sometimes it's good to have good connections across family lines, so to speak. Good for diplomacy. But I'm sure you have any sort of, munches you to get back to the box to you. If you need any, how's the word, backup, perhaps, just in case things, go out high, I could send some of, I could alert the city guard to help you in this. I have trusted members in the guard that could keep an eye on things just to make sure that nothing goes awry. If you're willing to work with them, of course.
Of course, they just happened to be on the street at the time, you see, but I would appreciate the gesture when we go talk to him.
So I would, I'm sure you have a lot of things to do and not a lot of time to do with them. So next time we meet, lemonade on me.
It sounds like a wonderful time. Good day, my lady.
Adieu.
All right. Then now
on investigation, you know that Wilcox is easy to find on the guild master in the guild hall, and the export, import guild. So yeah. So that's actually it's a shipwrights and sailors guild, and it's a very busy place. So it's basically converted a warehouse into a series, but it's functions as a warehouse and a series of offices, and people are coming in and out. So nobody's going to question you coming in. At least through the main doors. But
yeah, I'm just here on business,
Yeah.
It's nothing too strange.
Yes, it's you meet someone who is from the outside. Oh yeah, it's second floor on the left. Go
second floor. Yes, of course. Just go up, knock on the door. Should be easy.
Moment. And before you stands the figure of Wilcox. His office is a little more messy, right? He has a large couch in one area. So he basically somebody who basically spends quite a bit of time here, probably even sleeps here. Although the place is not necessarily designed for that exactly. Oh my lord, come in. I usually don't treat with direct clients like this, but welcome.
Oh, it's a special occasion. It'll be a good time for us all.
And as when he sees Harmon, he sort of there's a slight in his face, like, "Oh, yeah, this is interesting." And he successfully does. Oh, this is interesting. Please, take a seat. I'm sorry, I do not have enough seats for your manservant here, but I do have
Mhm.
the others. And he takes the seat. He's like, "What can I do for you, my lord? You're so far away from home."
Oh, it is true, and it's been a long journey, but I've enjoyed my time here in the city, and I'll be honest, I've heard quite so much about you. There's so many people who have so many things to say, and that's why I've come here to you today.
I hope they're all good. And if they're not, I enjoy the lies. Go ahead, my lord. What can you do for me?
Of course, of course. It's such fun to be had here, and of course, the matter I wish to speak to you is of one of very, very important business. For you see, you are completely undone,
Excuse me.
and for I have done it.
I do not understand. What are you talking about, my lord?
For in all of your years, you have made so many deals and so many things, and you've tiptoed so quietly. You've made but one error, but that error I believe I have found. And so it is now that I believe you should approach this with the utmost caution when I say it is important you listen to everything that I say. From now on, your fate lies in the hands of another. Not mine, of course. I'm but passing through. But I believe you are familiar with a... Actually, I'm trying to remember if Yeah, she wants me to basically deliver the message that they're working now, right?
Mhm.
Making sure I don't get that wrong.
She wants you to convince him to work for her exclusively.
Right. Okay, good. Just making sure I have that clear before I just go and say it. I believe you're familiar with the Lady Rishi, are you not?
I am. We don't cross paths, of course, but hard to miss someone of such importance.
Well, they may cross paths more often now, as your fate will be in her hands.
Is that so?
Quite so. There are numerous witnesses, numerous people who are ready to share their stories should it ever become a matter that must become legal. But she will undoubtedly know precisely what to do with the evidence we have collected and make sure that it never sees the light of day, so long as you two are willing to establish a trustworthy and profitable relationship between the two of you.
My lord, I do not question your beliefs. However, you have said many a thing, and yet have produced no proof whatsoever of your accusations. I'm afraid I cannot agree to something. I don't know the full extent of my misbehavior.
Doop-a-doop. Sorry. Shake
She
myself off
gave,
a
by the
little.
way, she gave you the box back. You have the box.
Oh, okay. I assume that she kept it because it would be safe for her. uh, but yeah, I guess I have it here for convincing sake. So I will go ahead and I'll say, well, you see, I heard from, I'll just skinny little fellow, and I'll hold this up, that you may have been rejected for a few things that you didn't like. And of course, I'm not like breaking the seal or anything. I'm just showing it off right now.
Roll a will presence, and you have a D8 advantage because you have the evidence before you. It's like he's like he can't just sort of.
Will presence.
He's
D8.
also nobility because you invoke Lady Richie's name, so you can also roll nobility as well.
Okay, so I got will, I got presence, I got our evidence, I have nobility. I got Harmon here. Can I roll a D8 for just him being?
Oh, Harmon, you're gonna flex some muscle or something, to help
Make a
out.
body athletics check.
I mean, that would be technically presence, and I don't have that.
Yeah, that's the sad part. I can't get you're my backdrop, but I can't have you help
Yeah.
me.
he's there. He acknowledges. I mean, he's not gonna launch at you or try to attack you because he knows Harmon's there. But it's like
He understands the consequence. But yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
We got 5 dice on this, and we have 3 good successes.
Oh yeah, and those are pretty solid successes too.
Mm-hmm.
I see. And you say that the Lady Rishi wishes to work with me? Or should I say, I would work with her?
Precisely. She will understand more what she will have you do. But such will be the relationship from now on.
Very well. Now, if I may be so bold as to ask, why? Why is this to you, my lord? Just a curiosity, just so I can understand why this is all happening. It was bound to happen, but why you of all people?
Because this is everything to me right now. People are dying because of the things that you have done. There's a war raging that needs to end. And at the end of it is everything that I have worked for. And you, of course, are merely the thing in my way.
So I'm a minnow in a very large, deep pond. Is that what it is?
You have perhaps stepped outside the bounds that you expected.
And you have come here to rectify that.
Indeed. The rebel prince will not last long.
That was just a business arrangement. Money. Progress, power. I think you understand some of these things, but I do not question your honor, of course, just stating the obvious. I'm sure that if you had approached me first, or your king had approached me first, then it would have been to you that I would have given my services. And then someone else would have tried to stop you and said exactly what you said about it meaning everything to them.
And have our people pay another pound of flesh to you? I suspect not.
Now, it is what it is.
When it is done, I do not expect to ever see a shred of your business on the Isles ever again.
For me. And the Lady Rishi guarantees my, instead of puts his hand on his neck, is like my safety, correct?
It is, of course, in her hands, but she's such a polite and generous person. I believe she will see to your safety.